Hey, welcome to the Parahub Radio Podcast. This is a stripped-down version of the show without the music and the commercials. If you'd like to hear the full show each week, catch us live Wednesday nights on Pulse Paranormal Talk Radio at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific, and midnight in the UK. Or you can catch the replays, which are on Thursday nights beginning at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific, and 3 a.m. in the UK. You can catch those on Haunted America Tours, I Am Haunted Radio, BounceRadio.net, and Mystic Age Radio. Thanks so much for joining us on the podcast tonight, and hope you enjoy the show. Hi, my name is Rough House. Joining me is Paula and Anthony tonight. Hello, stars, as they used to say in Hollywood Squares.
Well,
hey,
hello.
everybody.
I don't know where Mr. Pete Haviland is tonight. He's MIA as well as Bobby. They are both missing, but presumed alive. I'm hoping.
Not telling.
Yeah,
I'm not telling.
You just never know with the weird stuff that's happening in the world these days. You just never know. Oh, we got a lot going on this coming weekend. The three of us, I'm assuming the three of us are still doing this. We're going to the Florida Ghost Gathering in St. Petersburg, Florida.
That's right, Saturday.
Saturday at 2 o'clock, we're going to be speaking to the masses. We're going to be talking about stuff we have no idea about. We're going to be doling out information we shouldn't be. No, I'm kidding. Actually, we're gonna. Whoa! Somebody's
What
calling.
do you know?
Somebody's calling me, and I have it on vibrate. And it was a little close to the junk there. It was in my
Too
pocket.
much info.
Woo. You know, we are talking about rods tonight, so goodness gracious, just like all of a sudden caught me out of the blue. But anyway, we're going to be talking about radio and some of the stuff that some of the weird junk we've seen. Speaking of junk, and so if you happen to be in the West Florida area, by all means, come by. It's at the Florida Ghost Gathering, and it's at the Heritage Hotel, which is in downtown St. Petersburg, Florida. The conference is going on the 6th through the 8th. That's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But, you know, we'll be there just Saturday. We're preceding Patrick Burns, matter of fact. He's going to be the keynote speaker all 3 nights, or I guess it's all 3, or at least 2 of them, the first 2. And Patrick, a good friend of our show here, and he'll be on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he'll be on right after us at 3 o'clock. So come on by, say hi. We'll be signing autographs and kissing babies. And if you please bring a canned donation. We're gonna have a box out front, and we're taking donations for the homeless shelters in the area. Wherever we go and do conferences, we're going to try to do this, where we're going to collect canned food, and we're going to try to help out some people who really need the help. You know, it's not just Christmas time that you should be giving. It's all year long.
And what we're doing is very good, because right now with the economy what it is, people just can't afford to really donate anymore. So the shelves in these places are really starting to dry up.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, and that's not a joke. I mean, these places that wouldn't normally see the influx that they're seeing are getting hammered right now. And it's because of the price of gas. Which brings me to the question that I'm going to pose for tonight. I'm going to put this on the website for our poll. Is the cost of gas preventing you from doing as many investigations as you normally would? I know I'm not going nearly as far as I would have. Because
we just made a decision not to go outside of a certain boundary as well.
Yeah, so I'm going to put that poll question up on the parahub.org site. You can go in there and tell us, is the price of gas keeping you from doing investigations, or doing as many as you would anyway? A friend of mine recently, who works over at Bounce Radio, which is one of our awesome affiliates that we have, the dog, he does a show on, I think it's Mondays. He recently told me a story that I had to find out more information about. Apparently, where he works, he lives in Arizona and works in California, and he had a visit from the Men in Black recently. And I said, okay, I got to call you, and I got to ask you about this. So I asked him, I said, dude, what did you see?
I didn't see shit.
So, the Men in Black are good at work there. Apparently, they got to him, and they said, you ain't going to say nothing to nobody. But though I actually did press him for more information and asked him. I said, "Really, what did you see? When this incident happened?"
This was May 14th.
May 14th.
And, yeah, so this was a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
Basically, when Dave came to work in the morning, on his way in, he saw a whole convoy of trucks and vans getting off the freeway right here in Needles.
Yeah.
They're all black, tinted windows, all blacked out, government plates. All the guys had crew cuts and
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't think too much about it until we had a guest in a little bit later in the day that was on Dave's show, and he mentioned that he saw something come down the night before.
Somebody who lived there?
Yeah. He said it looked like a meteor that hit the river. He said it broke up on impact, and there was a bunch of like blue, green, yellow glowing lights and And so we started thinking, maybe it has something to do with that. And so then I went to go get some coffee down at the local AM/PM station, and there was a truck parked right outside our station, pointed at the tower.
Pointed at what, the satellite dishes and crap?
Yeah, our broadcast tower.
I mean, they were pointing their stuff at your stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
And we know how dangerous that can be.
Oh man, it was kind of freaky. I mean, big giant black 4x4, F-250 Super Duty, with one of those big giant construction utility shells on the back that had like radar domes on it and
Mm-hmm.
Kind of strange. And the guy just stared me down the whole time I was driving out.
Which guy? Oh, the guy with the satellite dish?
Yeah, the guy that was sitting in the truck. He was just staring at me. And
did you see Mulder and Scully walking around?
I tell you, man. I tell you. And then when I came back, he was still there, so I told Dave. And the guy that he was interviewing is the ex-police chief for LAX.
Uh-huh.
LA International Airport. So he was going to go out there and talk to the guy. And they were gone already. Wow. They'd taken off. I guess when he saw me come back, I was staring at him, and he was staring at me. I guess that was just like, okay, time to go.
And then the guys from Coast to Coast AM called you?
It was completely unrelated how all this happened. I mean, that's what freaked me out. We didn't get a call from them till the next day, and it was for something completely different, unrelated. They broadcast on our station. Yeah. We carry their feed, and they called to ask us if we needed any promos or liners or bumpers from them or anything. If George needed us to do anything for us, and I told him about it. And what's weird is when I went to my friend Clayton's house later in the day, after all that truck stuff had happened, he told me that Janet Airline had been at Bullhead City Airport all day.
That's the airline that flies from Las Vegas, flies employees from Las Vegas to Area 51, if I'm not mistaken.
Joint Air Force, Navy, something transport. I forget what it's called.
Right.
But yeah, so they were here in the same area all day. Mm-hmm. The other weird thing is we had an eyewitness call in that he lives on a houseboat on the river, and he saw the thing come down and explode. And he said within 15, 17 minutes, there was a Sky Crane helicopter out there picking up pieces and carting them away. So, yeah, something was going on. Something definitely went, something happened.
We just did have a shuttle launch last Saturday. Maybe somebody dropped something. They're working on a space station. Somebody dropped something.
Yeah, right.
That's what it was.
Oops.
Anyway.
So, yeah, when Coast to Coast called us, I was talking with Ian Punnett, and he's just like, well, so what's going on out there in Needles? Anything good lately? And I told him about it, and he was like, holy well, we got to get you on the show. And I'm like, dude, I don't know anything. All I can tell you is that I saw black trucks. I have no solid information. I need, we don't have any investigative reporters or anything. Not that we could find anything out if we wanted to.
Right, because the Men in Black would stop you.
Yeah. And so he's like, I don't care. It's a great story. We got to have you on. So I went on their show Saturday night, and then Linda Moulton Howe got a hold of it, and she called back to the station, and she interviewed like 5 or 6 different people, and she had them on the next following week. And it's been kind of strange. We get people calling in all the time now asking us what's going on, and
a lot of interviews about nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's my friend Dog, who works at a radio station in California, and he has a show on Bounce Radio on Monday nights, and apparently something fell out of the sky a couple weeks ago, and he had a visit from the Men in Black. but he had no story to tell. But somebody who does have a story, though, is on the phone with us right now. Pete Haviland joining us. Pete, what is going on, buddy?
Well, originally I was going to be on the show, and I was having computer problems. And remember, I told you I was going to have to beg off tonight.
Right.
So as I'm getting ready to leave from work, I got a phone call from a couple out here in Fort Bend County in Texas that they just saw the apparition of a headless child. Of course, the first thing I'm thinking of is like, yeah, okay, headless children. But they said no, they were out in the backyard, and they were doing some renovations and uncovered what looks like a concrete thing for a house. And they were digging around some more. And,
foundation?
Foundation, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then they started seeing some antiques, and then they unearthed what looks like a child's body, skeletal body.
Did not.
No, swear to God. That's why I called in, because I called you because I was like excited as hell. I'm heading out there right now. I loaded for bear, going to see what we have going out there. I just thought maybe you guys might want to hear a little bit of the story.
Wow. That's interesting stuff. You don't get that kind of call every day.
No, I kind of thought maybe they were a little bit too much into the whiskey or something,
Yeah, I mean, it's like all of a sudden, you get a call. It's like, hey, I just saw a headless child. And then I dug up a body of a headless child in my backyard.
Yeah, I thought, I just kind of thought it was a little over the top myself, but they sent me a picture through email of I saw the corpse.
So you're on the way now?
I'm on the way right now.
Corpse, as in freshly buried?
No, this is rather old. It's just skeletal remains.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not a corpse to me.
Corpse, yeah. well,
Okay.
Yeah.
A corpse to me implies flesh.
He's about a stick figure we were all based off of.
Wow. Ugh. Creepy. And this is out in Texas. Obviously, we're not going to give the address, or he'd be inundated with 50 million people. Because 50 million people are listening to us right now. So everybody.
They'd probably be out there, trying to give me all kinds of help.
So what's the address?
Yeah, really? Man. Well, for sure, let us know how that goes, and we want to get an update.
More information. Okay, yeah, I have some more information for you next week.
Well, let me tell you, you missed the show for more interesting reasons than I've ever heard of any one person. I mean, it was Poltergeist a couple weeks ago, Headless Children tonight. Man.
I wish I could make the stuff up, but, he's calling in a headless child story, making that up. It's kind of hokey. I wouldn't have wasted your time.
Wow. So they saw this child in the backyard or in the house, or?
They saw it in the house.
In the house.
In the house.
Wow. So you've got your whole...
In the kitchen, actually.
You got the whole crew going out there, or is it just you?
I've got 7 investigators meeting me out there. Each one is doing something different, so we can we can tear down the haunting and find out what's going on with the atmosphere and the people and so forth.
Jiminy Christmas! You lead such an intriguing life. I get calls, telemarketers, and you get calls like that. Unbelievable.
Hey, I had a call from a lady asking for an exorcism on email, telling me that her husband was taking too much Vicodin, and she thought it was Satan and wanted us to come out with a priest. So, yeah, that was yesterday.
Did you refer him to a clinic?
Yeah, I pointed her to Addicts Anonymous, and let's go from there.
All right, buddy. Well, it sounds like we're starting to lose you a little bit there. So definitely.
Yeah, I'll start to hit the tunnel.
Yeah, we'll get an update next week and talk about what you found out there, and with this headless child apparition. Wow, what a call! But I appreciate you calling in and letting us know about it.
Not a problem, man. And I miss all my Parahubbians.
Your Parahubbies?
My Parahubbies.
Teletubbies.
There you go.
Oh,
wait.
Hey, Paula.
There's a joke in there, but I'm going to leave it alone.
What?
Are you naked, Paula?
I'm going to leave that up to your imagination.
This show has just, 20 minutes in, and we have officially hit bottom.
It's going to make all my fans jealous.
No doubt. Anyhow, it's got news coming up here in just a matter of about a minute. Parahub Radio, the internet's only rock and roll paranormal extravaganza.
Parahub Radio News.
Parahub Radio News brought to you each week, as always, from Haunted America Tours. See them at hauntedamericatours.com. I have no idea what Paula's news is going to be about tonight, so we're just going to have to just sit back and enjoy.
I sent you an email with a heads up.
What, about 5 minutes ago?
About an hour ago.
Oh, well, I was a little busy setting up
But
the show.
we'll make it a surprise.
So what is it on your mind tonight?
First off, Darth Vader first gets put in the slammer, and now guess who's in trouble?
Luke Skywalker.
No, not really.
Chewbacca.
No.
I don't know.
Want me to tell you?
Yeah, give it to me.
Okay. Spider-Man.
Spidey?
Yes, folks, Spider-Man is up to no good. He's running around robbing convenience stores and a hotel.
Wow.
Actually, it's a 45-year-old man from Tennessee who likes to dress up as Spider-Man and rob places. The only problem is that he was caught this time.
Yeah, that last movie, the Spider-Man 3 was a stinker. He probably lost money on that, so he has to resort to, crime and, Poor guy.
So call Batman.
Yeah, no doubt.
Okay, a serpent named Peppy is now on the most wanted list in Minnesota. A $50,000 reward has been offered to anyone who can locate the creature. Bloopers here. The creature lives in Lake Pepin, which is part of the Mississippi River.
Oh, I was
So
going
to get your money, you just have to supply a photo and a DNA sample of the creature.
Was wondering where you get Pepe in Minnesota,
Lake Pepin.
Okay. Not Pepe as in like...
Not Pepe Le Pew.
Yeah, okay. I
So,
understand
get a
now.
photo of him and a DNA sample of the creature.
Yeah, give him a physical while you're at it. Make sure he's okay. Turn in cough, please.
Not your own DNA sample.
A sample
Anyway,
of the
it's going
serpent.
way over your head. Way over your head here. Okay. Some Dutch guys in Utrecht, Netherlands, which I probably didn't say right.
How did you butcher that?
Utrecht.
I
don't know.
That is your native area, isn't it, over there? Yonder?
Not me. My relatives.
Well, I know you're not exactly from there, but,
Okay, in Holland,
There you go.
some guys did something really stupid last week. Yes, Holland and Netherlands are the same place, by the way.
And doing something stupid is unusual. Why?
Well, it appears that their full moon did more than create an eerie ambiance in the nighttime. The 21-year-old Dutch men decided to run through the streets with no pants on. And as one guy put his hiney up against a restaurant window, the window broke and cut him up.
Oh, gosh.
What a pain in the butt.
No
Wow.
It's like, man, too bad he broke the window. He could have left a nice butt print.
How do you just not laugh at that? The guy's probably bleeding to death and his butt's filleted open there, and you just gotta laugh.
I'm pretty daring, and I've only done that once, and it was at like 4:00 in the morning through a neighborhood street where there was no chance anybody would see me. Okay. He did it in the streets next to a restaurant. I give him props. I don't care if he broke the window. Only more excitement.
Up against a restaurant.
Oh man! During business hours, he went in there and did it.
That's beautiful.
The full moon was arising,
and they call him the Streak.
Gosh. Alrighty, we got time for another one. What you got?
Okay, well, I've got something else for you to ponder here.
Okay.
Are frogs psychic?
Wow.
Well,
That's going to bother me all night now. I'll be thinking about that at 3 a.m.
A few days before the big earthquake that hit China a few weeks ago, thousands of frogs lined the streets, and scientists believe that they felt the first stages of the quake before we stupid humans did. So they came out of the ground. So are they psychic?
I don't know that's psychic as so much as it's like when the tsunami hit. Where was it, in India a few years ago, and the elephants were running for the hills. You know, that was
right.
You know,
I
don't know if that that's kind of psychic, but the frogs probably felt it. You're probably right.
Well, frogs do live underground, so I think chances are they could feel it.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. So, anyway, who's our spotlight on tonight?
Well, let's see. We have Renee Piccola, the case manager for the Ohio Ghost Hunters. And I asked her if she thinks orbs are real spirits, and here's what she said.
No, I don't. I think they're dust and bugs. And if somebody could show me an orb on 35-millimeter film that hasn't been altered or edited in either way, anyway, I'd probably give them $100. I haven't found anybody to do it yet.
You can check out the Ohio Ghost Hunters at www.ohioghosthunters.us. From the internet's only rock and roll paranormal extravaganza, I'm Paula Jedi with Parahub Radio News, brought to you by Haunted America Tours. See them at hauntedamericatours.com.
Parahub Radio.
You can call them rods, you can call them skyfish, you can call them solar entities. Just don't call them bugs, especially to this guy, Jose Escamilla. Hello, Jose. How you doing?
How you doing, guys? Yeah, don't you dare call them insects, man. There's more to it than that.
All right.
Don't get me started on that.
Well, you know, you kind of you're going to have to school me a little bit on this because I am not up 100% on rods. I did watch something the other day. I saw you on television, and I stopped and watched. You know, talking about the Mexico shot. Rods are relatively. They're recent, aren't they? I mean, found recently.
Well, they've been around for 14 years as far as my discovery, but they've been around longer than that. I've got evidence of these things being around over 1,000 years ago. Rock carvings.
Uh-huh.
In 1947, there was naval photographs and footage of these things coming out of the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
Trevor James Constable was photographing these things using infrared cams, which only register stuff that's in the invisible spectrum of light,
mm-hmm.
the infrared spectrum. So it's been they've been around way longer than I have.
Right. Okay, for people,
I just happen to pay attention. You know.
Right. For people who don't know or may not be familiar with the term rods, can you tell us a little bit about what a rod is?
Yeah, rods are cylindrical-shaped objects that I discovered over Roswell and Midway, New Mexico. By the way, guys, I totally spaced out being on your show tonight. So I am coming out of the grocery store right now with my partner. You know, we're picking up some steaks and barbecue and some beers, and we're just kind of hanging loose. But
that's okay.
You didn't invite us.
That's what you're hearing, all the ambient noise. Yes, I am a regular person.
Oh, look at that! Well, you see, I'm doing this show from my bathtub, so I understand completely.
I just had a Tijuana taxi go by. They were playing Cholo music, so it's kind of nuts.
Where are you at? What part of the country are you at?
I'm in Culver City, California.
Oh, okay. So, alrighty. Yeah. Cool. So you went out and you took some pictures and you found these rods. Is that what sparked this, or did somebody else turn you on to that?
No, I was in Roswell, New Mexico, and we have a ranch outside called Midway, New Mexico, right out of Roswell, New Mexico. You know, I grew up in that town.
Okay.
And it was March 5th, 1994. And I filmed 16 minutes of what I thought would be about the only UFO encounter we'd ever had. There was UFOs that suddenly appeared right over Midway. So, in looking at the footage, in the 16 minutes of footage that we filmed, there were these things that kept zipping by, okay, and they looked like flying snakes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm a film and video editor for 28 years, and these things, at first you can hear me say on the videos, they're insects, they're bugs, they're birds,
Mm-hmm.
But because I was looking at these things through a viewfinder, they look like an insect passing by, close to the lens.
Right.
But I was filming at the highest shutter setting in those days, which was 1/2000. Because of the UFO experience, we decided, look, we better film at these higher shutter settings so that we don't get fooled. if it's a balloon or a jet or something passing by, filming at the highest shutter setting, there's no way that we cannot distinguish what it is. So when we saw these things, this thing that looked like a flying snake, an insect was on video before it, and then this bird passed by, and then this thing passed by. It looks like a freaking snake.
Mm-hmm.
And it's piling butt, man. I mean, it's moving. It's trucking, man. So turns out to be something other than a regular insect, in comparison to what insects look like and everything else. So
right.
At that point in time, I decided to investigate further. And once I made the announcement that these things were around us, I started getting skeptics, hitting me up and saying, he's faking on a computer. If only Escamilla can film these, then there's something wrong with that. He's faking it. It's a hoax or some of that crap.
Right.
So it's like, I go through that, and I put it out, and I put a message out to people all over the world. I said, look, I want everybody to, set up your cameras and film into the skies using this protocol that I call the sky pitching protocol that allows you to eliminate anything that may be flying up there other than a bird, or an insect. It'll eliminate the insects and birds. And what it is, you set your camera at the highest shutter setting. Now, current technology, you can film up to, I think, 1/15,000 shutter setting, which is really good.
Okay.
Because if somebody throws a baseball at 90 miles an hour and you're filming at the high shutter setting, when you go back and play that back frame by frame, you're going to see a pristine frame by frame image of that baseball, even if it's traveling, 90 miles an hour.
Right.
But if you're shooting at a normal or auto setting on your camera, that baseball is going to turn into a elongated shape that will resemble a rod or, just a long object just zipping through.
Right, because you're taking an object and basically stretching it over shorter frames, so it's not getting millisecond by millisecond. It's basically it'd be like a second, shot each time.
Boom! Each frame you're getting enough light in there to eliminate any motion blur. It's motion blur is what's causing that.
Right.
So after I started getting more and more footage from all over the world, we decided, all right, we might as well start putting this stuff out and let it be known that there's something out there that needs to be addressed. Something that we know it's not an insect, we know it's not a bird. We have footage now of it coming in and out of the ocean, in from outer space. We got shuttle footage. Mm-hmm. We even have these things on Mars, of all things.
Really?
So,
that's interesting. On Mars?
Yeah, we've got footage. Yeah, we got footage and photo stills from objects that are rod-shaped objects flying over the Mars skyscapes.
It's pretty a good bet that there's not any bugs on Mars.
Nope.
So,
I guess are there insects, and there, pardon me, there are insects also in the fjords of Norway at 8,000 feet above ground. Mm-hmm. We've got rod footage. There's snow and everything, and it's 8,000 feet above sea level. And it's an aerial shot of rods flying by these people that are way up there. They're like about 8,000 feet above sea level. Mm-hmm. And they're not insects, and they're huge, man, and they're zipping by real fast.
That's another thing I was going to ask you about. If anybody wants to go check out, if you don't know what a rod is, go by the website roswellrods.com. Jose's got some pictures there that'll tell you what a rod is. We'll show you. Now, I was looking at this, and you're saying that some of these things are huge. How big are we talking?
Well, we have one shot of a rod that flies in and out of a tornado, a funnel of a tornado, which is like 300 feet in diameter, and it's going like 300 or 400 miles an hour.
The tornado is, not the rod.
A mile-wide tornado that's doing 300 mile an hour winds.
Wow.
And the TV news camera crew that's on a helicopter, they're at 3,000 feet above ground. The cloud front, which is the cloud cell that the tornado is born from, is 10 or 15 miles away from the chopper, all right? And you can see this on the Roswell Rods website also. And what happens is this rod comes out in 3 frames of video. Now, remember, this rod in cloud front is about 10 miles away from the chopper camera, the news camera. And in 3 frames of video, it comes out of the cloud, and you can see it in 1 frame of video, pristine looking. You can see the undulatory wave fins on it, and then it enters the cloud again. And then I did a 3D, inverted negative imagery of it, so you can really see it come out of the clouds.
Mm-hmm.
But this thing was 10 miles away, and if so, in 3 frames of video, it must have been close to 100, maybe 200 feet long, and traveling in the thousands of miles per hour. For it to have been that big and only register in 3 frames of video, which constitutes 0.3 of a second.
Wow. Well, I have to ask you, how does something that big not run into things?
Well, we don't know if they run into things or not. I do have footage from the Ukraine of 2 jets that crashed. They didn't collide with each other, but you can see rods flying near them. And in one case, you see a rod actually look like it collides with it before the jet crashed. So we don't know. I don't want to scare people and say, hey, rods are making airlines crash or anything like that, or airplanes, but
right. Let's not cause a panic.
It appears that there was a collision.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, interesting. Well, I'm going to open it up here to my co-hosts here, Paula and Anthony. Anthony, do you have a question?
I sure do. I was reading the website, and I noticed that you caught the History Channel show that they did on rods recently. Do you want to tell us what you thought of that?
Well, History Channel approached me a couple of years ago, and they said, we want to do the Ultimate Rod Special. And I go, yes, let's do it. I'll give you all the footage, give you all, everything I have. Let's do it the right way, finally. And, History Channel is my favorite channel on cable,
mm-hmm.
because I think that's the thing. Well, these guys come out, and first of all, they wouldn't let me see the script of the show, which I found kind of peculiar. This is the second time a network has done this to me. And then they wouldn't even let me see any part of the show's, inserts or anything. They just said, well, in other words, I was blinded through the whole filming thing. I had no script. I didn't know what the format was. I didn't know what the questions were. They just said, look, just tell us this, what's going on. And then the producer of the show said, well, Jose, this is kind of odd because after I edited the show, he said, this is going to make the Rod phenomenon really stick out really big, all right? So he says, the History Channel changed the last ending of the show. They completely re-edited the whole ending. Well, if you look at the TV special, on it's a Monster Quest, I believe. If you look at the show, they did a rod test with a high-speed camera, bigger camcorder, and they set it up at some guy's backyard. Well, if I would have known they were going to do that kind of test, I would have said, first of all, number one, do not shoot at night, because automatically the regular camcorder, in order to catch anything at night, you have to lower the shutter setting.
Mm-hmm.
All right?
Right.
I specifically told these guys, do not shoot at night because you're gonna even your guy's arm is gonna blur. He's gonna look like a ghost on film, and that's exactly what you see. You look there. But what they did is they shot insects, okay, in somebody's backyard.
Uh-huh.
The high-speed camera, because it's a high-speed camera, caught insects. Of course, it's going to catch insects. But if they would have filmed in broad daylight, like I've always told them, film in broad daylight. Don't shoot at your backyard. Shoot into the sky and train that high-speed camera into the sky. They would have caught whatever's flying in the air.
Right.
Okay? And I can tell you, I could go out and do the same test that they did, but they didn't do the test that they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
In other words, made it look like, okay, that's the only answer is rods or nothing but insects. But that's not true.
Typical
television.
television. Typical network.
Yeah, you know what I'm going to do is I'm doing the Ultimate Rod Special, Rod's film, and I'm just going to, put an egg on their face, man. This is it. I'm tired of this crap.
Good for you. Good for you.
You know?
Now, we have just a couple more minutes here. I think Paula has one last question here to ask you.
Yeah, I just have a few quick questions.
Hey, Paula, how are you?
Hi, doing good. I was just wondering, have you seen these with your own eyes, and is there any way to determine how far away these rods are from the camera?
Okay, I'll tell you what. For your listening audience and for you and everyone else, you want to do a test, go outside on some sunny day, put on a pair of sunglasses, and block the sun with the eave of a roof or a tall building, what have you, and just look up. And you're going to see insects, you're going to see gnats, you're going to see debris, you're going to see cottonwood, all sorts of stuff in the sky flying about. On occasion, you're going to see dark or a white streak that is traveling so fast, but you're going to see it, all right?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be like a zip, and that's a rod. And you will be able to tell. Once you start looking with the naked eye, you'll be able to tell the difference between an insect, a gnat, a bird, and everything else that's up there, because they do have a peculiar behavioral flight pattern, okay? And that's what distinguishes rods from anything else. But you can see them with the naked eye.
Wow.
Absolutely.
So there's a lot of them, too?
I'm sorry?
There's a lot of them? They're everywhere?
As far as I know, there's certain areas that are at, in quite, big frequencies, and then there's some areas where you won't see anything. So,
Right, right.
That's why I call them sky fish.
Yep,
One day they're biting, the next day they're not there.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Depends on what part of the sky pond you're looking at,
Right. Unfortunately, we're out of time here. I know you've got ice cream melting in your car there, so you need to take off. But, when you get that new show going, let us know, because that's interesting. I'd like to check that out with you. And
you bet I will. And I've got some stuff. I got IMAX footage of rods. I've got space footage, shuttle footage. I mean, I got all sorts of stuff, and it's all going to be there in one big package, and that's it.
Sweet.
And thank you guys for your time, man. You guys are cool.
Well, thank you so much. Go by RoswellRods.com is the website, and check out. If you don't know what rods are, you need to find out, because obviously they're around us all the time. Thanks so much, Jose.
The real deal. Thank you, guys.
All right.
Good talking to you.
This has been Parahub Radio's podcast, the stripped-down version of the show. Thanks to our guest for being on this week. Also, thanks to Pete, Paula, Anthony, and Bobby for co-hosting. I'm Roughhouse, the producer of the show. Catch us live on Wednesday nights beginning at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 Pacific, and midnight in the UK on Pulse Paranormal Talk Radio. You can catch the replay on Thursday evenings beginning at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific, and 3 a.m. in the UK on bounceradio.net. Mystic Age Radio, I Am Haunted Radio, and on HauntedAmericaTours.com. Catch our show each week, or the podcast right where you got it from each week also. Thanks so much for tuning in. I am Roughhouse. Have a great week, and we'll see you next time.